Valley Railway Series, Book 1, Smudger the Free Engine. Dear friends, I once met a man whose father worked for the Upper and Lower Valley Railways. His name was Rio Gonji, he told me. He represented both railways. He would travel the world bringing engines who had been abandoned or sold back to the island and give them a second chance. I found to my surprise that lots of the engines Rio found still exist today. I met them, and they told me their stories. One little green engine told me some particularly interesting tales. The author. Saying goodbye. The next morning, Smudger was woken up early. His wheels had been fitted back on the night before, and the wall in front of him was torn down. A small ramp stood before him, leading onto the rails. His fire was soon lit, and he was sizzling with excitement.
Finally! Wait till that old Duke hears about this!
His driver laughed.
No time for small talk. Let's get you moving.
A workman stood close by, and he helped the driver direct the little engine out of the shed and onto the main line. Smudger felt wonderful being back on the rails. He remembered another engine shared his same ordeal. I wonder how Stanley is. He was given a truck filled with coal, and his fireman filled Smudger's tanks while his driver looked at the map.
We'd better get going if we want to catch your boat on time. Be on your best behavior, understood?
Yeah, I hear you, dang it. But he was too busy wondering what sort of railway he would be moved to. At first, the trip to the harbor was a very smooth one. Smudger even passed Vulcan and Stewart, who were very surprised to see him passing by. Further down the line, however, Smudger derailed, and his driver and fireman had to lever him back onto the line.
You'd better hope you don't miss that boat of yours.
It ain't my fault this railway's so... His fireman severely hushed him. Smudger decided to keep quiet the rest of the journey and try to stay on the rails. Above them, the sun was rising higher into the sky. His driver kept checking his watch. At long last, they arrived at the harbor. Here, the narrow gauge line ended, and the Fat Controller's railway was nearby. Smudger had only been to the harbor once before, but he could hardly remember it now. Along the water, there were many ships, big and small. Most of the ships were for transporting goods, but Smudger couldn't tell which ship was for the representative. Then he called out to a workman who was on his lunch break.
Hey, bud, can you help me out here?
Not with that attitude.
And then he went back to his sandwich. There was suddenly a loud toot. A ship was ready to leave. Smudger began to panic.
That can't be my boat, right? He never gave us the ship's name. How does he expect us to find him?
There can't be any harm in checking.
Leaving Smudger in his siding, they hurried over to see what ship was leaving. Smudger hissed with impatience. I wonder where they're going. Smudger nearly yelped. There, standing next to him, was the representative himself. I had forgotten to tell you which ship was mine, and I apologize. Now, if we want to make good time, we'd best be going now. His driver and fireman returned and saw the representative. After having a good laugh about the situation, the ship whistled that it was nearly time to leave. I guess we'd better get him loaded up then. Smudger was moved as close to the ship as possible and was uncoupled from his truck. After thanking the men, the representative headed on board the ship. After they put out his fire, Smudger said goodbye to his old driver and fireman. They left to catch the next train home. Using strong cranes, they loaded Smudger onto the ship. He looked out at the island one last time with a confident grin.
Look out, brave new world, because here I come!
With that, the ship's whistle blasted long and loud, and Smudger was on his way to his new home.